Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how to use the execute if command. Every time in this video I use a TP at the start of command, it's so I don't need to run the command from the chat. Execute if biome is used to detect which biome is where. You start with if biome, then the place you want to check, and then the name of it. Execute if block is used to detect what block is where. You start with if block, then the place you want to check, and then the ID of the block. Execute if blocks is used to compare two places. You start with if blocks, then the first corner, then the second, then the corner of the thing you want to compare to, then mask. I will create other video on execute if data and data commands. You start with if dimension, then its ID. If entity is used to detect an entity or entities. You start with if entity, then the entity selector. Execute if items is used to detect items in a slot in an inventory or container. You start with if items, then block, then the chords of the block, then the slot, and then the item ID. Or if items, then entity, then the entity selector, then the slot, and then the item ID. Execute if loaded is used to detect when block is loading. You start with if loaded and then the chords of the block. I will create other video on execute if function and predicate. Execute if score is used, compare scoreboards or check their count. If you want to check if it matches a number you start with, if score, then the entity selector, then the scoreboard name, then matches, then number or range of numbers. If you want to compare, you start with if score, then the entity selector, then the scoreboard name, then aired byte, AU, and then the second entity selector, that's the scoreboard name you want to compare.